Welcome everyone to today's Tech Savvy episode. I'm Katerina Georgieva, Senior Director of Delivery Operations Center at Scalefocus, and I'm happy to be your host today. We are diving into an essential moment in technology, and our topic today is reality check AI markets momentum. As AI moves from the hype to business as usual, the way we build, deliver, and measure value in software engineering is fundamentally changing. Joining me are two of our most insightful leaders, Krasi Kostadinov, our Chief Technology Officer, who brings deep expertise in innovation, AI integration, and the future of software engineering, and Nasko Hristov, our Senior Engineering Manager, whose hands-on experience shapes how the team evolve in the age of AI, and of course deliver with high quality. We will explore the business climate, market trends, economic factors, and why the future belongs to the team that don't just write code. So whether you are a business leader, engineer, or just curious about where software engineering is headed, this conversation is exactly for you. Let's start with the big picture, with the business climate and the market trends. As I said, the AI hype cycle has stabilized, and that's a good thing, I believe. Enterprises are no longer treating AI as a side project, but they are integrating it into their infrastructure, their delivery models, their strategy. And here is my first question to our panels. Nasko, let's start with you. How has the shift from AI as novelty to AI as business as usual changed the expectations between the clients and engineering partners?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks. First of all, thanks for the introduction, Kate. I'm happy to be here with you and Krasi. So yeah, you're right. We are seeing already the process of so-called AI normalization. So just a couple of years ago, if clients wanted to build something with AI, they normally expected a proof of concept or some flashy chatbot or something that was isolated and not really part of their general platforms and core infrastructure. And now we are seeing this shift that you are talking about from AI as novelty to AI as the norm, basically. And clients are, when they want to build AI, they no longer expect a proof of concept. They actually expect innovation that is baked within the core of their business systems, basically. So that's the first that's the first change in expectations, actually, and the most significant one. So clients expect us to provide teams that will deliver AI and implement operationalized AI within their business platforms, and not just create a one-off proof of concept and that's it. The other change is of course related to the current global economic situation and the growing everywhere economic so-called pragmatism. There is expectation. All businesses, are, and we are seeing it. Our clients, they are pressured to cut costs, This requirement, this pressure actually should not come for the price of stopping innovation, and this is where the change is. So the clients expect to do more with less. Basically, they expect from our engineering teams to deliver more with less resources from any aspect, like human resources, technological resources as well. This is actually a good chance for us, for our region here as Nearshore partners, because we can deliver that. We can apply to that expectation. The third significant change in expectations we see is the shift from build to transform. So previously, a client used to come and say, hey, build me a chatbot. But now they come and say, hey, help me transform my, for example, customer support process. So they do not want us to execute something. They want us to help them transform their business, basically, with the help of AI tooling or any current edge technology, basically.
Thanks, Nasko. Thanks. And as we all see economic pressures mounting, how do nearshore partnerships strike between the cost efficiency and innovation agility?
This is a very important question, and it comes to the heart of our region, especially our country's engineering team's capabilities, basically. Because let's admit it, our region, we have never been competitive in terms of quantity and in terms of cost as well, if you like, because Eastern centers, they can provide better costs and a lot more engineers, but the quality is questionable, of course. So our engineering teams from our region, they really strike, as you say, the balance between cost efficiency and innovation. And we prove that cost efficiency and innovation are not actually opposite, but when implemented in the right way, actually innovation contributes to cost efficiency. We see currently a process like we previously used to see cloud first trend. We now see AI first trend. So clients are reshaping their expectations from teams. They do not expect to see big teams, but they tend to see smart teams operating with augmented with AI tooling and delivering value, not just code.
Thanks, Nasko. It's a great and insightful start of the talk. Krasi, as the tech world matures beyond hype, where compliance, control, and proximity matter more than speed, who is winning and who is left behind?
Well, there are a few factors that contribute to some companies being more agile and actually leveraging some strengths because of the situation. As a whole, the IT industry shows signs overall of maturing, actually. And that was only accelerated by AI. This didn't start with AI, actually. There are, for example, statistics from the Bureau of Labor Statistics in the US that show that the number of software engineers in the US has pretty much plateaued for the last 10 years. And there was some spike in terms of the post-pandemic rapid digitalization that went on, but now it's back to normal. So if anything, AI has only accelerated the trend and not necessarily caused the trend. So our industry is out of the hyper-growth phase. We are no longer focusing as an industry, get the users at all costs, get the next funding at all costs, make sure you're first to the market, grab the market share as fast as you can. And that is a normal trend. Other industries that are older than the IT industry have went through that already, and they're still here and they're still thriving and so on and so forth. Another thing that is actually emerging as a trend, which is more recent, is, I would call it sovereign everything. So we're hearing things like sovereign AI, sovereign data, sovereign cloud, and so on and so forth. That is because interrelationships of suppliers, of vendors are now more and more seen by decision makers as a risk, as a reliance, as a dependency even, and not just as a cost efficiency or economy of scale or whatever. Just go with the biggest cloud supplier or just go with whatever. And that sovereign way of thinking is changing the way IT is done. In some cases, things that are already on the market are being recreated regionally just because you don't want to depend on external factors or factors you deem not necessarily strategically stable. And that leads me to the other factor, localization of services search, so to say. The same as with the products and services, companies are looking more and more to local suppliers, to companies in the same region, or EU companies, for example, looking for EU service suppliers, and so on and so forth. And there is yet another trend, and basically the situation and where it leads goes down to a number of intertwining trends. And the defense spending and the recent hike, especially in the EU region of defense spending, is changing our industry as well, because the defense sector was under-digitalized for years now. And now we're seeing a much higher spend in experimentation, in funding of different projects and programs that have defense significance and so on. So the companies that thrive and are winning in this situation are companies that are agile, that are adapting fast, that are making sure they invest in the outcomes of the trends that I just mentioned, because they're quite predictable in where they lead. So, yeah.
Super. Now let's zoom in on Eastern Europe. That's a region that's rapidly outgrowing its nearshore outsourcing label. And we are not just cost-effective talent pool now, we are a technology co-creation hub. So I'd like to ask Nasko, how has the perception of Eastern Europe changed in the eyes of global enterprises? And what does it mean for our long-term value proposition?
Well, you pretty much gave the answer to this question, Kate. So it has changed in a way that we are no longer famous with that much with cost efficiency and lower, not cost efficiency, but lower rates. But we are more famous now with the engineering talent, with strong partnership, innovation partnerships, not just execution of some development tasks. And if 10 years ago, for example, Eastern Europe was equal to low rates, now Eastern Europe is equal to transformation enablers and co-creation of co-creators of business value through digital transformation. This perception has several aspects. So the first is we have traditions, in science, in maths, in engineering sciences from the past as well. Here, our clients and partners, they can find really mature engineering talent with strong English fluency, also with very close cultural alignment to companies from Western Europe, from the US. And due to this, I think we are seeing this reputation shift about Eastern Europe, and it's no longer seen as just nearshore outsourcing destination, but it is seen, our region and companies from our region here, they are seen as strategic innovation partners for our clients. And yeah, there are also the cultural advantages which are not to underestimate, and I believe good amount of clients, especially from Western Europe, from US as well, they prefer to work with nearshore vendors here because of the cultural closeness to their way of work, basically. Engineering teams and companies from our region, they sustainably provide ownership of executing, delivering business value, executing tasks. So this is very important and very valuable for our clients. We are seeing it. And of course, not to miss the time zone proximity. It's also very important. And as Krasi mentioned, already our IT industry is maturing. So having a mature, predictable, stable IT engineering partner is also very important for our clients. So we are seeing this perception formed in the majority of the clients that we work with already, and that are long-term clients of us. So that's basically it.
That's really powerful list of advantages, Naze, but as business representative today here, you see the challenges as well. Share with us, what are they?
Yeah, there are definitely challenges, and we have to admit that in the past several years, our sector has grown significantly. We have seen, especially during the post-pandemic years, some companies growing 40 to 60% on an annual basis in terms of workforce and delivery capacity. And this was mainly due to the over-digitalization or digitalization of businesses as fearing from the pandemic consequences, basically. And now, of course, some of this growth was not based on some strategy, but was based on momentum. And a lot of this growth will now normalize again, and it will set back to a normal state, let's say so. And this is one of the challenge, I would say, the over hiring that happened in the past several years. The other also significant challenge we see is currently it's probably driven by the economic factors as well, but we are seeing vendor consolidation happening across all the accounts that we work with, but also new accounts that we explore. Now companies driven mostly by the policies of their CFOs and procurement teams, they tend to work with less number of vendors, but vendors that are proven with big teams, international, and this is a challenge, but it is also an opportunity for companies that have proven record of successful deliveries and big names in their portfolio. So yeah, that's the second, and I think the third challenge not to underestimate is for our region particularly is the war that's nearby. It definitely scares some companies. They're still asking the question: should we build here? Is it safe? Our investment. So, but it is also provides, as Krasi mentioned, it provides opportunities because we are seeing a lot of investments done in the defense sector, and defense sector is not just weapons and the surrounding environment, but it's also cybersecurity, disinformation, and there are opportunities that are open there.
And what do you see, Nasco, as the most actionable growth area right now for the nearshore partners, for companies like ours?
The most actionable growth area is now engineering teams should transform into the delivering into building capability, not building just workforce, but some of the concrete demands and growth areas, of course, we cannot miss the AI and data engineering. We are seeing really huge demand there, and clients do not need, we mentioned that in the beginning of the conversations, they do not need one-off project or proof of concept. They need strong long-term partners, innovation partners that will lead them through their AI integration journey. And we are seeing a lot of companies that they do a successful, let's say, pilot or proof of concept, but then nothing happens and there is no return on investment on that. And that is because majority of the companies, especially large enterprises, they do not have their data pipelines correctly configured, let's say so. And they do not have an idea how to govern the shift to AI first delivery, basically. So they need help with that, and this is exactly an growth area for companies like Scalefocus and others from the region. The second area, concrete area, of course, is the constant platform modernization. We have seen this in the past at least 20 years. There are enterprises that still run big part of their internal systems are run on monoliths from 20 years, implemented 20 years ago. And of course, they are stable and they prefer to use these applications while they can. But these applications are not AI ready, to say so. They were not cloud ready as well in the past. So we had a lot of work, in the past several years to do a lot of applications for our clients, cloud native and cloud ready. Now we'll have a lot of opportunities to help them transform their platforms into AI ready platforms. And last but not least, we'll see growth opportunities in specific business domains, in business verticals, like to mention a few, fintech, health tech, logistics, manufacturing. So we know that AI is not one size fits all. It requires, especially for specific business domains, it requires a lot of fine-tuning and proper arrangement of the data pipelines, of the models, deploying the models, configuring the models properly. So we'll see a lot of opportunities there for growth as well.
Super. We've covered the business climate, the global market trends, and some of the local specific. Let's talk tools and technology trends now. The stack has evolved from cloud first to AI first. What is the new stack of innovation? We are seeing a boost in AI software development with tools like GitHub, Databricks, Snowflake, Salesforce, Agentforce, and so many open source AI frameworks. And while I'm sure it's not about just using these tools, it's about mastering them. Krasi, which tooling or platform strengths do you believe will have the most transformative impact on engineering teams in the next, let's say, 12 to 18 months, and why?
I would say it's a long answer, but the short version is the major tooling that is making a difference right now and will be doing so for the next year and a half or so. Everything has become even more so data-centric than it used to be. I mean, with the popularization of the trend of big data like 10 or 15 years ago, that used to be the case, and everyone was talking about data being the new oil and everything else. That led to more so than otherwise of just hoarding data. And of course, if you are brought to think of data as the new gold or the new oil, who throws away gold? And everyone started to just collecting data and they couldn't do anything with it. So it evolved into a data swamp. Basically, they didn't know why they held that data. They couldn't do anything with it, but they just were hoarding data, and storage generally is cheap. So who cared? Nowadays, what's happening is we have new ways actually to exploit that data, especially unstructured data, which was by far the biggest contributor to the data growth. So I would say the data-centric development around when nowadays complex systems are designed, more than ever, data is the front and center. And everyone thinks of their business through the dimension of data. What data do they collect? What is usable? How and everything else. So the data-centric evolution and all that supports that. You mentioned Databricks is on the rise for the past few years, but many such tools that enable quick data extraction, ETL, ELT, creation of data pipelines, new things that have emerged as trends, things like data ops that didn't evolve until recently. I would say it's always been the case since data digitalization, but nowadays it's front and center because unlike other systems, AI models might degrade in performance, not because the model is not good, but because the quality of data drops with time. So companies now are investing more in data operations, data quality, data transformations, synthetic data, you name it. It's a long talk. But data operations is another one. As Nasku mentioned, defense is a big factor, and how we defend is different than previous decades. Now the competition is not just economic and military, but also digital. And that's why, and not just only because of the defense spend in the current world situation, the maturing of the industry warrants us to pay importance to the digital systems. The hyper growth phase, nobody was focusing on security, or not enough, because as I said, users, market share, features to the market, speed of delivery, that was paramount. And now we have a bunch of platforms that weren't necessarily designed with security in mind. And as we know, you can only achieve decent security through design, not by bolting it on. Now, a lot of organizations wake up to that fact, that try to bolt on security and so on. So cybersecurity is a big trend, and all the tools that come with that cybersecurity. And when I'm talking about cybersecurity, not just application security, but network security, physical security, supply chain security. We had a lot of instances of supply chain attacks, side channel attacks. The attacks that threaten today's digital world are much more diverse and creative than they used to be. 20 years ago, most of the people were doing SQL injections, XSS, and DDoS attacks at best. Now we have quite complex attacks, and of course the measures evolve as well. So cybersecurity, with the implementation of AI governance and MLOps is actually growing significantly as a focus for organizations. And the important thing about MLOps is the life cycle of a model is not the same as of a regular piece of software. It has its own specificities, it has its own requirements, and not a lot of organizations even know how to operate successfully AI at scale. And of course, AI agents, autonomous workflows, a lot of organizations, from what I see, are trying to enable as many of their employees as possible with platforms that they quickly can leverage AI to automate processes. Basically, instead of going and centralizing the automation, they're giving the tools to automate to everyone. So they can experiment, they can automate things in their daily work and so on. So the automation drive is being flipped. It's a grassroots movement now. So I would say that's a significant trend that affects the tooling, as I say, things like LangChain, Na10, a lot of examples, and that's just the open source world. So yeah, those are the major tools that are being important at this point.
Great, thank you, Krasi. Now let's get to the heart of the matter, the future of engineering. We are entering what we are calling post-AI engineering, where AI isn't just a tool, but it's a co-engineer. And some new roles are popping up, like AI platform engineers, prompt architects, AI governance specialists, and so many. At the same time, soft skills are becoming more critical in this professional aspect. Things like problem framing, critical thinking, ethics, and communication are as important as coding. So I'd like to challenge us. So let's start with Nasko. What does it mean to be an engineer in a world where AI can write part of the code?
Thank you, Kate. Well, first of all, let's make a clear statement that AI is not going to replace developers or engineers, but it is definitely going to redefine their roles. And we are already seeing this. And it will redefine the roles in a way that it will augment basically their roles. So now the writing the code is no longer the first step. It's actually the last step. And a project now doesn't start with the typing function or class, or it starts with thinking and thinking through what kind of business problem am I solving? Who are the users of this feature or application that I'm to be implementing? And not that much worry of the code. So we are seeing this this shift very clearly, and will not have an isolated AI teams within the companies, and the roles that you mentioned, prompt architect or prompt engineer or AI governance. So every engineer will have to add these skills to their skill set to more or less to a big extent, depending on their role. But everyone will be a prompt engineer at some point. Yeah. So that's inevitable. But it will not replace human factor, and still the effort will shift. Human effort will shift from writing the code, and it's already shifted, to thinking about scalability, about business functionality, how to deliver business value, critical thinking, questioning even some functional features that are requested by the client. This is actually the shift from syntax to design, activities related to design, and it depends mostly on the human judgment and the human capability of orchestrating this whole process. So engineers will be orchestrators of going forward, not that much of hands-on coders or developers. So AI can do the boring stuff. Yeah, it can generate unit tests or some boilerplate code. It can generate actually a lot more than that, but it still requires the human creativity to review it, to provide feedback, and most of all to make sure that what is written. So AI writes the code, but human decides what is written. So human decides what business value is being created, and that will be the new role of the engineer. And it largely depends on that. To engineers to be able to build systems that adapt, that learn, basically intelligent systems, in this recent term.
Super. And Krasi, how do we reskill, reposition, empower our teams to thrive in this new paradigm Nasko just described, not just as coders, but as an architects of those intelligent systems and valuable solutions?
So Nasko mentioned some of the important skills, like prompt engineering is, if you list it in your resume, is the same as listing, like, I don't know, Google searcher or whatever. It's a skill that's ubiquitous, and you should possess it. If not, please make sure to do so. The other thing is the recent hype of all around agentic systems. They don't work in the same way like usual prompting does. So working in agentic mode is somewhat different. It has its own requirements on the way we work with AI systems. So that's another skill that should be ubiquitous. In the next year and 2 years and a half, everyone should actually possess that skill. Understanding data in more depth. I mentioned that data is becoming central to system design, to the way we think about even the value that applications bring. Everything revolves around data, so understanding data, understanding different data models of representation data, their strengths, weaknesses, understanding data quality and how we can improve on that, understanding different aspects, the different types, the major types of data, for example, understanding the fundamental thoughts like of Inmon, Kimball, and other great minds in the world of data, and how we differentiate between the different types of data and their different requirements and so on. In terms of technical skills, because a lot of engineers like to focus on what tools should I learn. You should definitely know Python by now, hopefully, and a lot of common things like at least basic skills in working, at least being able to execute AI systems through like PyTorch or things like that, TensorFlow and other frameworks. And definitely things like, I'll mention it again, but it's quite important nowadays, at least in the next year to year and a half, Databricks, things like pandas. If you haven't learned pandas, you're a late arrival, but you should definitely learn it. So understanding data more in general and being able to process data through compute resources is of the utmost importance, regardless if you are directly involved in data engineering or just developing software. And the other important thing is thinking about the value that the features and the system you are developing is bringing. That's something that the developers are not accustomed to, but that's quite important because it's not just implementation is becoming cheaper and cheaper. You must focus on the additional added value. I mentioned cybersecurity, UI, UX design, understanding what's a good design, understanding user behavior and how to improve the user experience in systems. Understanding, for example, how to ask the right questions or questions on whether what you're about to do really brings business value and how we can measure that. Skills like that, of course, they're all tied in to the soft skills. So you need to converse with people, you need to know how to extract valuable information from people. So soft skills are important as well.
Super. Thank you. Finally, let's look the vision ahead. The market is changing. Pricing is shifting. Success is measured not in hours built, but in business impact, cost reductions, efficiency gains, innovation velocity. And our role is no longer just to deliver the goal, it's to enable this transformation. Tell us, Nasko, how can technology services companies transition from being vendors to becoming true transformation partners? And what does it mean for our teams, our culture, our clients?
First of all, and I believe we are already seeing it, at least in our company, we are doing it already. Companies should revisit and rethink their delivery models. So delivery models are shifting to outcome-based models. So as we already mentioned several times, clients are looking for long-term transformation partners and enablers, and not just consultants or providers of development capacity, but they are looking really for transformation partners. And the expectations are from that partnership for them to see cost efficiencies, cost optimizations, to see innovations, to see expected return on investment long term. So basically, I think the most important change will be the change in of the delivery models and the shift towards outcome-based models. The other shift, as we mentioned, from vendor to partner, this is a must for every software services company, especially for software companies in our region. The best ones will position particularly in this role of a partner and not that much of a vendor. We mentioned several reasons why, but we cannot be competitive in terms of volume. It's a small region compared to other regions, so we can compete in terms of ownership, in terms of quality, in terms of strict technical and deep technical knowledge and execution. And this also touches the cultural topic because it is also very important. We should continue doing, or we should basically double on what we're doing now on developing our teams, engineering teams culture. And as Krasi said, developers are not used to thinking outside of their scope of work, let's say coding or development or architecting just the technical solution, but they will have to. And service companies will have to develop such teams, engineering teams that think a bit more outside the technological part.
Great. So to close, here is my final question to both of you. And Krasi, you start first, please, as a wrap up. What does the future of high performance delivery look like?
We touched on a lot of the aspects of the answer already, but wrap it up in a more cohesive fashion. I would say ownership. So if you're wondering, is there one thing AI will never automate? Hopefully. But I would say ownership, because owning the results of your work, regardless how you achieve them, is something that's a human trait. And it's hard to find actually in the services world. It's not ubiquitous throughout the world. As the old book from the 70s was named, The Earth is Flat. But actually, in terms of services, the earth is actually not flat in terms of how you source talent and also in the physical sense, of course. But ownership is an important part. Self-organizing teams is another. So high performance comes from teams that don't just wait for a ticket to execute. They organize their work, they prioritize, even in the absence of product owners and so on. They should know the product roadmap of what they're delivering. They should understand the business value of what they're delivering. They should be able to make the right decisions in the absence of direct command. If I have to make the equivalence, that's the difference between the regular army and the special forces. The special forces need to have the bigger picture in mind because they need to have decisions made without direct input from command. They operate behind enemy lines and so on. So the same thing goes for self-organizing teams in the software world. And on the aspect of bringing more business value, how we can achieve that, the best way, which is something that we have been doing for quite a while now, but making sure that you set your KPI straight, you know why you're doing something, how you will measure the success, what does the success look like, how we'll measure that success, setting those KPIs right, and making a focused POC, but a POC not just like a technology demo or something you can put in the hands of the end users. Although it's not completely finished, although it's not fully integrated and so on, but something tangible that can really make an effect, that's measurable. And then if you see the impact at small scale, you should also include those initial adopters, their feedback. They should be part of the team that implements that. They become your evangelists in the organizations and in the user groups that you do eventually. So the adoption is much better. You make sure that when you do the expensive stuff, so as I said, implementation is cheap nowadays, but the expensive part is scaling that thing, securing the eventual product and so on. When you go to the expensive part, you can pretty well, based on the initial experiment, you can pretty well say, that's going to cost that much. It's going to cost that much to actually create. That's cost that much to scale, that much to operate per time period, and so on. So you have a much better, not just that it will make an impact, but also you can judge what the return and if a return on investment might happen, because it might make an impact on small scale, but actually be too expensive to run at scale. So that's how you test business value before you invest. Flipping the whole, not just making a multi-year program and then scrapping it because it has no business value. Of course, if you do the experiments right, you can judge that way before you make great investments. So business value is another important point. So that's how we do high performance delivery in the future.
Great. And from your perspective, Nasko, how do you see our local strengths evolving in this high-performance delivery vision?
Well, our local strengths, as I mentioned, we really should continue doing what we are doing best currently, and we should actually double down on that. And to mention what companies and engineers from our region are doing better and are competitive in is definitely engineering precision. Adaptability, as Krasi mentioned, this is a really important characteristic. And also historically, companies and teams from our region, they have had really deep respect for technical quality. Now we have to scale all these aspects by adding AI, automation, and of course continuing that culture of the teams, that culture for continuous learning, and never stop developing on skills, both technical and soft skills. I can say that high performance delivery in the next decade, it will not look like a production line, but it will look like rather as a symphony that is played in sync between humans and machines.
Thank you, Nasko and Krasi, for showing us exactly where engineering is headed. Thank you for the powerful and timely conversation. One message stands out. The winner will be those who measure success not by output, but by impact. And the most valuable engineers are not those who write the most code. They are the ones who ask the right questions, design the right systems, and deliver a real impact by using powerful tools. Let's lead with purpose and responsibility. And to all of you watching, thank you for joining us. Until the next time.